You gave a talk recently about foreign owned land in the United States, and I wanted to kind of go into that topic because I think this is, most people when they hear this would be outraged to think that we have an enemy nation, an enemy government. I want to be careful because I love the Chinese people, but an enemy government, the Communist Party, which is a take no prisoner kind of party, being able to purchase indeed land in the United States that they can own. And that is a national security threat.
It is. Excuse me, absolutely. So I think everybody by now has heard about China buying up land, right?
Right.
I mean, it's been all over the headlines for years now.
Yeah.
But when you ask why it is, you're not really given a clear answer, right? So you read some articles and they're like, it's a national security threat because they're buying land right next to U.S. military bases. And one of the few purchases they actually stopped was of a Chinese state-run company trying to buy land right next to a U.S. military base. That was one of the few they actually stopped. But there's tons of them. Now, if you look at the actual proportion, it doesn't sound. It looks like a lot. It's not a lot when it comes like to the nitty-gritty of it. But I'll explain why this still matters. Of foreign-owned land in the United States, China owns around little less than 1%. Canada technically owns more U.S. farmland than China does, right, in terms of their stuff. But what they want to do with it is a lot worse. And when it gets into also like other industries, especially the meat industry, it's way worse, like way, way worse. So let me explain, like briefly on that. There's about 4 companies that do most of our meat processing. China owns one and mostly owns another. And then I think that another one's like a big Brazilian company. So, but China, I mean, you got to think they control about half the meat production, in other words. And remember why that mattered. I'll go deeper into this, but remember why that mattered. During COVID-19, we were all told, hey, there's not enough meat. We're going to run out of meat. There's going to be a meat shortage. You remember that?
Yeah, oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
saw it in the grocery store.
I was concerned.
For sure.
Yeah, so they were saying not enough meat. Members of Congress, it was actually Nancy Pelosi and I think another Democrat, they sent a letter to these meat processors and they say, why are you saying there's not enough meat, but you're doing record shipments to China?
Yeah.
Wasn't that crazy? We never got answers on that. We were never told what the answer to that was. We were never told what was really going on. There was no meat shortage. They were sending it to China.
Yeah.
And so fast forward to now, you know, of course, Donald Trump, his administration, they're going after Chinese-owned farmland in a few different ways. There's pending executive action. There's hints that Trump might sign an executive order. But even outside of that, you have bipartisan legislation now going through. You had, of course, a big press conference, the head of the USDA, a couple governors, you know. You had Pete Hegseth, head of the Defense Department there, bunch of departments. So it's like whole of government approach right now to go after these Chinese farms. Question is, well, why, right? They're saying national security threat. They're also saying a threat to America's food safety. But when I was speaking, I pointed to something else. Last year, there was a congressional report that said exactly what was happening. And I think everybody forgot about it. What happened last year? So Republicans in Congress, they started a big investigation. They were looking into Chinese subversion, like a Chinese Communist Party subversion of the U.S. government. And the argument was, or the concern was, the CCP is trying to take over our government from the inside. They're bribing officials, they're making backroom deals, they're using business deals to make sure that we don't put any of our normal red tape in place, and they're effectively just wrecking shop. They are subverting and taking control of our government from within the agencies.
Hey, did you find this helpful? I hope you did. Please like and subscribe, share with a friend, and also go to standingforfreedom.com where you can find more content, articles, podcasts, and our Theology of Politics series, all at standingforfreedom.com.